All right, this is the testing 1 2 3. Let's see how this sounds, how this looks, how this setup is. I'll probably have to fix my hair. Testing 1 2 3. Let's do a review of the Canonet QL17 that I've had since 2020. In 2020, I picked up film photography as a little hobby before the end of the world. That's what I was thinking, right? Everyone was thinking, and low key, right? But yeah, this has been a great camera, my favorite camera actually. And I want to talk about some of my favorite parts that no other QL17 review talks about. Like, no one talks about this. Only one guy recently, and it's now May. No, it's what is it? It's June 1st. No, it's not. June 2nd, 2024. So after 4 years,
after all that,
no one's talked about this. Maybe once before, but this one guy recently, I've seen a video, only one that talks about it. Anyways, what am I talking about? One of my favorite parts is, what is it called? Spot metering, or it holds the metering to whatever. Let's say in film photography, you need to shoot for the shadows. So what you do is half press, right? When you have it on shutter priority, because this camera is shutter priority or fully manual. I like to shoot it at shutter priority, makes it easier. It also protects me from any super overexposed or underexposed shots. But the point of what I want to talk about today about the QL17 is when you half press, right, it'll hold that metering to whatever the shadows are, and you can readjust your framing, focus, shoot the picture. That, I love that. It's so amazing. Anyways, I'm gonna show some photos using the QL17 since 2020, my experience, because remember, I had not shot any cameras, really done any photography besides on my phone, and I learned photography through this camera on film. So it's kind of rare to see some people learning photography starting with film. Typically people learn with digital. So it was kind of a different experience, and I learned I learned photography the old school way, but now I can apply all these things to digital. And one of my buddies, he started photography not too long ago, and he has a digital, like a Canon EOS R, and he's learning everything. My other buddy, he got a Fujifilm camera digital, and he's struggling with some sort of things. So it feels good to be able to relay some information that translates to digital. So I was giving him some pointers why his shots were so blurry, and I told him about shutter and the 1/60 slap on some cameras, or if it's too low, your lens is not that bright, etc. All those type of things that I learned on film. Kind of pricey way to learn it, but the good thing I noticed is you really think about it instead of like just shooting off the hip with the digital camera. You kind of have to figure out, okay, what did I do wrong? With film, you absolutely know what you did wrong in a shorter amount of time because you only have 36 shots, right? So that's been my experience. If you get a QL17, I recommend that you shoot it at shutter priority. Shooting at shutter priority, all you have to worry about is what shutter speed you shoot it at. Let's say it's in the day, it's bright, leave it at 500, 250, depending on the film you have, and then you can shoot until the sun starts going down. Then you can start lowering the shutter speed lower to maybe 60 or even 30 at times, which is great because since it has a leaf shutter, that's another thing that's awesome. You can maybe shoot it at 1/15 if you have good posture and good, you hold your breath like a sniper and then just not shake at all. Boom, you can pull off 1/15 with the leaf shutter. But if you want to keep it safe, go to 60 or 30. On an SLR, you want to keep it 60 and above so you don't have that mirror slap shake. But that's another thing that's been amazing with that. The leaf shutter, you can't really hear, right? I've gotten compliments from Leica owners. There was this one time when I was with my wife. We were in some area here in northern Phoenix, Scottsdale area where some wild horses pass. There was this guy and his girl. They were out and about, and I saw him. He had a big old camera, black camera, and I was like, hey, that looks like a Leica. So I got closer, and as I was walking by, I had mine like this too, and he saw it, and he's like, hey, is that a Canonet? And nice camera, or something happened like that, and we kind of mutually complimented each other. And oh, is that a QL17G3? I was like, yeah. Do you have a Leica? And he's like, yeah. Like, can I see it? Yeah, sure. We swapped cameras. He was surprised of the lightness of it. Even though I had never had a camera, I thought a QL was heavy. Okay. His camera, he had a Leica M5, and his was a brick. So I could tell why he was saying that this was light, but he loved it. He liked the look of it, and of course, it's a very pretty camera. And his M5 was like nice, really robust machine. And even his wife had a strange, like clear Rico, like point and shoot film camera, which is pretty cool. But yeah, can't go wrong with the QL17G3. The winding mechanism is nice. It does kind of rattle a bit because of the way the shutter button is set up. I'm not sure why. It wiggles a bit, and that's usually the kind of weird part about it. It's got a good weight to it. You know it's, a quality device, and the light meter still works. You can adapt new batteries to it, like modern batteries, because they use the old mercury kind. It's a camera from the 70s, so you use a little brass adapter you can get on Amazon, eBay, and it's a brass adapter where you can adapt a LR44 batteries or 347, whatever the equivalent is to L44. And the reason you use a brass adapter is so it can reduce the amps or whatever it is to, I think it's 1.3 that it needs to be, or 1.5. But it works flawlessly for me. Just to play it safe, film likes to be overexposed a little bit. So let's say if I put a 200 film speed in here, I'll usually put it at 100 or 150 between there, just to be on the safe side. Because what I hear is that this is not the most accurate metering. But as long as, through my experience, you put a fresh battery in there with that adapter, you maybe overexpose it a stop, and you shoot for the shadows, almost all your shots are going to be like perfect, spot on. The only time I have issues is with focusing, but that's just rangefinder, or I have never adjusted the focusing patch, and I've hit all my shots really. So that's pretty cool. Great experience. Sometimes I do get an issue where if I have a film that's a little thicker, it'll get stuck. Not sure what that's about. One other thing is this latch is not that strong for me, for my device at least. Maybe it's because the only dent I have is down here. Sometimes that opens, and that is the worst, and then you get light leaks. It can be artistic. Sometimes it ruins shots. So I will be getting a case for this so we can seal it in until I'm done with the shots. What else can I talk about? The QL17 rapid fire review here. You can check if the battery's good with the little check in the back. What else? There was one thing I want. Oh yes, so it's a 1.7, so pretty bright. However, if you shoot this in shutter priority, it'll only go to f2 at your lowest. So the only way you can use 1.7 is manually putting it to 1.7. So it gets you out of shutter priority. So typically what you can do is, let's say you're going somewhere and it's telling you 1.7, you're gonna need to put it 1.7 yourself. If you shoot shutter priority always and it's, you know, low light and it's trying to go to its brightest, if it tells you 1.7 and you shoot at shutter priority, it's only gonna go for f2. So just have that in mind. If you really want to use all the way to f1.7, you need to move it yourself to f1.7. But then that'll turn off the meter, because once you get off of shutter priority mode, the A, it shuts off the meter, and then it goes to fully manual, you know, Sunny 16 it, you know. But typically I've seen YouTubers use their Canon QL17 in many different ways. I just use it on shutter priority. It's the easiest because the meter will be on. If you want to use an external meter, then you can use it however you want. I've seen them, you know, they'll shoot shutter priority, and then if they want the f1.7 or they want to adjust however they want to adjust it, then they can move it. There's a lot of ways you can shoot this, but my personal opinion is shutter priority on the A mode, which I would assume means automatic. That's all I want to talk about with my QL17. Let me see how I look here. Sorry about the hair. It's a little crazy, but I've always had crazy hair, so that's just the look. I'm going to do another review on my other cameras that I've had, so look out for those. But thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it to other people that are getting into film. Peace.